Hello there! It is time for a new heroic race for the High Nacrea dragon. I think that's how you say it, but either way, this is High Nacrea, and they are the newest heroic to enter the game in this heroic race. We will go through how to get her and how to do each of the quests, but I'm going to kind of try and speed through this because we've done many heroic race guides before, but just for anyone new in case they need it. But High Nacrea is interesting because they start with magic element, and they've also got the dream element, which could be actually quite useful. And you know, people love drowsy for many reasons, and High Nacrea could get some use. I can definitely see it happening. But this heroic race is very slightly different from usual in terms of the rewards that we can get, because we have some changes to the lap 16, 17, 18 rewards, and it's pretty spicy because if you get to lap 15, you are guaranteed to get your hands on this heroic dragon as long as you qualify, of course, which you would if you get to lap 15. But lap 16, there are 200 orbs, lap 17 is the skin for this dragon, and lap 18 is 500 orbs for her, which is absolutely nuts. So if you want to get your hands on potentially these orbs, you may end up having to gem a little bit. Of course, you're going to have to be logging in often, but those are some very interesting rewards, definitely. But if you're not really looking to get a particular lap reward, then all that you'll need to do to get the heroic is come first in your race, and you will be put into a pool of players. You'll see that there are 8 players. I'm currently first. And all that you need to do is win and qualify. So you need to get to at least lap 5 and come first, and you get your hands on the dragon and the other dragons. But I highly suggest always going to at least lap 15 if you can. This time, lap 18 looks very spicy. But of course, you can see that I've already made some progress on this heroic race. We do have 11 days of the race as usual, and we'll be going through these tasks as we usually do. But basically, you want to use the shortest timer things that you can, so that pertains to hatching, breeding, collecting food, and then battles are going to be some of the longer quests, although in the early stages, the collecting food and such is also going to be just as long as the battles. But the first one that we'd start off with on lap 4, node 5, for instance, is this battles quest, because you want to do the battles quest as soon as you possibly can to start a cooldown timer on them. And now, usually when it comes to these battles, it's actually the cheapest way to get through them is to gem only the final battle. So, like, we've got a 15-minute cooldown, so we log in 15 minutes, do this battle, we log in 15 minutes, do this battle, 15 minutes, do that one, and then we can gem the last one to save the most time. Always bear that in mind, and sometimes it will be cheaper if you gem from this front panel rather than gemming inside this panel. The other quest that we've got is collecting food, and this is a very annoying quest as usual, but the best way to do it is by growing the cheapest and the fastest food, which is bluebell bouquets. Now, the only exception to this would be if you are, say, you've gone to sleep and then you put in 12-hour food and then you can instantly get an item for it. But otherwise, popping in the shortest bluebell bouquet timers is your best way of doing it. You've only got a 10% chance of getting an item from these short timer foods, but they are the best way of doing it without you ever getting stuck on a particular node or anything like that. So again, we wait for the food to finish, and then it comes up, and then we go and we collect it, and this time we didn't get an item again. So you just have to repeat and repeat and repeat. And just before we get into the rest of the quest, I'm going to jump straight into pools and cooldowns immediately because it's important for this one. So for the battle timer, you can see it in game, there is a 15-minute wait between each battle. However, there will also be a cooldown timer for the collecting food, which works in pretty much the exact same way as the battles, but it just doesn't show you this in the game. So we can collect as many food items as possible, if they ever pop up, that is, which they don't seem to be. But for this lap for node 5 in particular, I highly suggest that throughout the entirety of this heroic race, you use either the DITLEP or the DITLEP heroic race guide, which again, you can go on the main page of the website, go to events, go to heroic race, and then it'll open up this, and then you can pick which lap you're currently on. So since we're on lap 4 node 5, we've got this one, and the max amount of food that we're going to be able to collect is 9. So, you know, even though we're getting screwed over with these items so far, it's to be expected. But you'll see that to get to the next node, we need to collect 12 food items. But we can only collect 9 at once, and then we have to wait to be able to collect the remaining pieces. And that is because there is a maximum amount of items that can spawn in a pool at once. In this case, it is a pool of 9, so then we have to wait for the 3 other items, and there is a wait time of just an hour and 30 minutes for each new food item to spawn in, which is very, very long. And I know that some people would probably be quite tempted to, you know, gem the last 3 items probably once they actually get them, which, wow, this game is screwing me over. But always have DITLEP and DITList or any other guides open so that you know exactly how long you need to wait on these collecting food, breeding, hatching, all of the other tasks out there. This will be your holy grail. And the minimum amount of time is how long it would take minimum if you logged in perfectly, didn't miss any cooldown timer on this or any of the other quests. So 4 hours 30 minutes would be the minimum. For the battling, it's going to take at least an hour and 30 minutes, and that's not if we skip the final battle, in which case it would of course be faster than that. There we go, we finally got a food item. That was triggering me a little bit. So of course we'll keep grinding out this food collecting section here. The other quests that we have are going to be the same as usual. So once we finish this node, we go on to lap 5. And then the first one that we're going to have is 6 lots of breeding dragons, which is an absolute... I almost used a naughty word there. YouTube ad revenue, please don't kill me. But the best way to get the breeding quest done is similar to this food collecting. You want to use the shortest time as possible so that you never get locked out of your breeding dens, and that is Terra x Terra. And you can see that I've got 2 Terra dragons, non-empowered Terras, and 2 non-empowered Terra dragons in the other breeding den here as well. And so to get the breeding items, you just have to keep breeding Terra dragon eggs over and over and over again. I don't think I've bred Terras on PC. So again, you go in here, you find Terra, and make sure they are non-empowered, because if you use these empowered boys, you will have a chance of breeding some very long timers. But the reason you want to breed non-empowered Terras, or double Terra, is because the only possible breeding outcome is a Terra dragon, which has an incredibly short breeding time, and then you can just breed, and rebreed. But just like with these item collections for food, you're not guaranteed an item, and you may have to do it 20 times before you even get a single item. It sucks, it takes a long time. So when you do come up to these breeding tasks, you should have at least a few hatchery slots available, and at least 2 breeding dens available is the best way, or the most convenient way of doing it, I would say. If you only have 1 breeding den and 1 hatchery slot, you're going to hate your time, you're going to hate yourself, and it's probably going to take you much longer. So I highly recommend having at least a few slots open in your hatchery and your breeding dens if you want to get that task done. My goodness, all this food collecting. But next one, we've got collect, or collect, as I always like to say, because that is literally how it's written on here. Collect gold and collect food, so we're going to have more collecting of food. But collecting gold is actually probably the easiest task. It is literally whenever you see a habitat with the gold symbol up top, that usually means it's close to full. The fuller the habitat is, the higher the chances that you're going to get an item. So whenever you see these gold symbols, or if you know that the habitat is full, you just click on them, and usually you will get an item if the habitat was full. Not every single time you will get an item, especially again if it's not actually full yet, but it should be nice and easy. The more habitats you have placed, the easier this task is going to be. So if you don't have a lot of habitats placed, I highly recommend going into the shop, purchasing a bunch of Terra habitats, filling them with Terra dragons that you've slightly leveled up, and then you can just collect from them quite easily. So again, I love this task, collecting gold, love it. Next one, we have feeding dragons, which along with collecting gold, I think is probably the next easiest quest. It is pretty self-explanatory, and the easiest way to do it is to get a level 1 Terra dragon egg that you've either bought or bred, place it, and then you just feed it up. And then you don't have to waste a lot of food. And if you stop getting an item, it's because you've reached the maximum items in that pool for that set period of time. So then you go back to the website to check how long it's going to take before the next item spawns in. You go to the website, oh look, only 32 items spawned, so I'm going to have to wait 3 hours until I can finish the pool. It's that simple. So then we've got hatching eggs, which is pretty much exactly the same as breeding, except rather than you having to mess with the breeding dens, all that you have to do is just get the Terra Dragon egg, place it, and then hope that you get the item. So the easiest way to do this is to go into the hatchery, click get egg, gold, Terra Dragon egg, and there you go. It will be a 15-second cooldown, and then you hatch it, and again, only a 10% chance of getting an item, but it is very, very simple to do. It will just be very, very time consuming. So the breeding and hatching tasks in particular are some of the most annoying, but I would say that collecting food is also incredibly annoying. They're all very similar in how they work. Low percent chances of you getting an item each time, but you just have to do it over and over again. Again, it's normal for you to have to breed 20 plus times to get an item at times. You can just get screwed over by RNGs just like that. So that is normal if it happens to you. Just make sure you are paying attention to how many items you can collect at once, because for lap 5 node 4, the hatching test, for example, there is no cooldown, so you can get the items instantly. Next one that we've got is league battles, and this one's also pretty self-explanatory. You just have to win league battles. So these league battles over here, the only problem is once you finish off your set of battles, you will have a cooldown timer, and the further into the league battle standings you are, I'm at 295 out of 400, the more expensive it is to refill. So once you get to this stage where we need to get 2 of these league battle victories on lap 5 node 4, you can do that without having to refresh and get another battle, but sometimes it may be 4 items, in which case you either need to finish off all of your battles in a set to get a free refresh of energy, or you're just going to have to wait 6 hours. So with league battles, of course, you should have really done a league battle by this point, but the enemies cap at level 40, so as long as you have a team of dragons that can beat any level 40 team in the game, then you can do every single league battle. So if you're not at that stage, I highly recommend empowering, getting some good dragons. Even if they're just breedables that can take them on, you just need a set of dragons that can do your league battles, because they are going to be a big part of heroic races, and they are a thing that ends up hindering a lot of new players in particular when they're trying to make progress. And so if you can't do your league battles, you may need to skip them with gems, or you may want to save your secret booster spins purely for league battles in that case. But again, that's only if you can't do your league battles anyway. But let's collect some more food here before I continue on. Silly food collecting there. And then again, we're going to have lap 5 node 5, which is collecting food again, battling dragons again, which is normal, and it just sort of continues on like that. So then we've got lap 6 node 1, feeding dragons, collecting gold, collecting food. Normally we don't have any cooldowns on node 2 until much later on, so I think that this race is quite different in that sense, that we do actually have cooldowns quite early on this time, and some of the gem costs have been changed. So this heroic race is not going to be quite the same as normal in terms of the cooldowns and the gem costs. It is slightly different. So I don't know exactly how many laps you should be able to expect to get through this time around, because normally getting to lap 18 is pretty doable, but I'm not sure about this time around with the different cooldowns and everything. But like, these cooldowns don't look too crazy, although feeding dragons there is 10 hours, which is a bit yikes. And then battle dragons is 20 hours, but that's pretty standard for lap 18. But like I said, the main thing that you want to do is get your hands on lap 15, which you're going to see your entrance to lap 15 is going to be breeding 14 dragons. So yeah, enjoy that one when that one comes up. So those are the ways that you can do the various tasks in the heroic race. And the reason why you want to get your hands on the heroic and all of the dragons is because if you get all of the dragons, then there will probably end up being heroic combat quests at the end of the heroic race, which, you know, you can get free orbs for the heroic for. The other thing that we've got going on for High Nacrea at the moment is this, with these magic arcanum items, and that's because we've got a new collection of Fallen Guild. And so in this Fallen Guild collection, whenever you get one of these magic arcanum items, you will get a heroic orbs chest and some heroic trade essence. But out of this heroic orb chest, you could get up to 100 orbs of High Nacrea. I only got ×1 earlier, as is expected. But we also have other rewards like epic egg chests. We've got a perk chest with some legendary jokers, more jokers in there. And then we've got this one, which might be doable, but seems unlikely. But you could get your hands on up to 640 orbs of High Nacrea if you manage to do it. Will that be possible for free-to-play players? I'm not 100% sure at this point, but normally if you can do it, you have to really push it and then spend some gems at the end. So be very, very aware of that. But of course, the other collection that we had going on has ended, and along with High Nacrea, we've also got those magic energy ball items as part of that collection available in the arena. So you should definitely be doing all of your arena battles as soon as they come up. And if you're someone like me that's got the new cooldowns or the no cooldowns on the arena, should make it a lot easier for you. But the arena battles won't impact your heroic race whatsoever. All that they're going to do is give you extra items for this stuff over here. So I don't think there's really too much else going on apart from, you know, we've got this new Wizard's Hollow, which, believe it or not, I actually did get something decent out of it, and it was in exchange for like 20 gems, I think. We actually got Kung Flow Karma out of the golden chest for like 20 gems, which was pretty decent. But the only thing to note is that out of these golden karma chests, there is a chance that you just get like a few gems, some jokers, so you're not guaranteed a good dragon each time. I got lucky this time, but maybe you will get lucky yourself, who knows? And then of course, we do have the Halloween events currently ongoing as well. I do have the final dragon transformation that I need. He is being summoned right now, Grave Lurker. We've almost finished his quest. But that should be enough once once transformation is summoned and hatched to finish off the quest and get our hands on that Halloween habitat. So that's where we're at with that. So if you're also working on the Halloween quests, I wish you the best. But I think that it is just good in general to remember that heroic race should really be your priority. You don't want to fall behind in your ranking list. And plus, again, if we can get to even to lap 16, an extra 200 orbs of High Nacrea, that's just a free empowerment start. Like that's wonderful. Plus 500, which would be plus 700. That's even better. And plus we've got the Magic Arcanum item at 13 as well. And then we've got more heroic orbs chests here. So we have the potential for quite a lot of orbs of this heroic. And I don't know if you've seen my profile, but I am a big fan of leveling up these new heroics that come out. Literally, look at that seismic scale, Cinco, High Nest. So if we can add High Nacrea, that would add a lovely magic dragon heroic to our collection of level 60s right now. So I would love that. We will see what happens, but I do wish you the best of luck. If you're not going for lap 15, but you do want to come first, good luck with your I guess your ranking of players. I hope that you don't get any crazy gemmers, but since the rewards are different this time, do not be surprised if you see people gemming to lap 18. You should be very prepared to see people gemming for those 500 orbs. But that is everything that I wanted to go through for now, so make sure you use your spins on either the battles or the league battles mainly, or any long timers that you've got that are remaining. And I guess apart from that, make sure you're actually logging in and using the websites and guides properly so you know exactly when you need to keep logging in. And basically, if you have no life outside of the game, you will be at a big advantage over others that actually do have things to do. So I hope you don't have too much to do this week.